It's the J Bass Today Show. Get ready for a good time, a good time. It's the J Bass Today Show. Get ready to ride.
Season's greetings and welcome to the J Bass Today Show, y'all. Look, this is the 50th episode, and I am just so grateful to be here today and to share this episode with these two beautiful sisters in Christ who have agreed to come on and to be my guest and just to talk about what it means to persevere, sometimes despite insurmountable odds and issues. And so, Dr. Gilbert, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely.
You've been a guest before, and they see me and Chantae every week, so that's why I'm starting with you first, because I'm so grateful that you were able to make time to be here. If you hadn't been here, it would have been Chantae and I, and so it truly is a blessing to have a third voice and story and word to be offered. And so thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Chantae, you have been there since episode 1, and we are nearing 50 episodes on the J Tay Show. We missed a few shows, or else this coming Sunday would be our 50th episode, but it's coming soon. How are you today?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of feel like Dr. Gilbert in not answering, how are you? Because that is truly a loaded answer. But I just want to start by saying, before we really kind of get into some of the crux of the conversation, this show is the result of an answered prayer. I know shortly after I graduated high school in 2000 that this idea was on my mind. And before I ever started the J Bass Today Show Zoom, and we're still believing God that it will evolve into something even greater. This is just the beginning, and you have to do your part. And sometimes the humble beginnings, he tells us not to, something with the small beginnings.
Despise not. Despise not small.
Beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started with an email. That email is still active today. You can email jbasstodayShow@yahoo.com, because when I didn't know how to bring the show to life, I started with an email. And sometimes you just have to start. And the thing about it is, how many years after the email was created that this show, it was well over a decade, probably closer to 2 decades. And so to be at the 50th episode, it just speaks volumes. The truth is, every week of these past 50 weeks has not been easy. When you want to have guests on your show and you invite people and you're ignored and overlooked, it can be so disappointing. But I had to keep going, or else I wouldn't have made it to the 50th episode. And so to be here today is absolutely a testament of God's strength to persevere again against insurmountable odds and issues. I saw a post by Dr. Gilbert, and I told her in some ways it reminded me. She's posted probably two things and I've responded in multiple ways, but one of those was regarding the book that she and I did together, my very first book, kind of detailing my musical start in the first 10 volumes of my songbook. And the overall crux of the book, the supporting story is I am a musician, a singer, a songwriter who, although you think and you see people in the entertainment world being supported and those things, when you don't receive that, it can be discouraging. But somehow, and I had a conversation with my mom and dad today about their support in my music, because they're not musicians, and so it hasn't meant much to them, but this is what God chose me for, and it's so obvious. Even when I wanted to give up, he kept me going. And so to continue to go, to continue to write, to continue to record in spite of, speaks volumes. And so my heart for the book was to encourage others. You may not have the support. You do expect, as someone in the arts industry, that people will see what you're doing and be drawn to it. But I've had to remember why I started recording the music in the first place. And that was because when God calls me home, I want him to be able to say, servant, well done, because I was faithful with what he entrusted into my hands. And I know the music is it, because when I didn't see any other reason to live, he put the music on my heart because it had been a blessing to me, and I knew that it would be a blessing to others. And so I'm kind of sharing now so that when I pivot to one of my guests, then I can be done. But it is a season now where we want to go to a new level. We want to grow in God, and we should desire these things. But often we don't even consider the warfare, the struggle, the additional weight of cross that we have to bear. And one of the things that Dr. Gilbert said, she was saying how other men and women of God seem to be silent. They're inviting her to do things, but they're not recognizing. And I kind of felt like, I'm possibly included, because we're dealing with our own individual situations. And often, because we're in our own world, it doesn't even dawn on us that other kingdom servants are suffering too. And we want their support. We want them to be verbal and to show up for us. But in their mind, they're thinking the same thing. And so nobody's supporting anybody. Nobody is able to show off anybody, because we're not communicating. And that's why I appreciated her posting that, because it allowed me a chance to see a different perspective and realize, this season I've been sharing, and I just believe God is going to do something amazing. So I don't mind sharing this, but I've been dealing with so many health challenges, and many of you are aware of that. And it has been affecting me mentally, which is affecting things in school. And when you have maintained a certain level the entire time that you've been in school, and that is threatened, and you're seeing the lower grades, and you're seeing the mistakes you're making, that you just know if whatever is going on in your mind wasn't going on, that you wouldn't be having this issue. And so to be dealing with this the semester before I'm supposed to graduate, I keep saying Dr. Gilbert, she has a doctorate degree. I'm appreciative just to accomplish an associate's degree, because I will be the first in my immediate family to do that. And it has been such a struggle after 20 years to go back and to maintain such a great grade average and to be on the president's list every semester from beginning even to last semester, and to have that threatened. It is not easy, but you know what? It's not easy, but I keep showing up. It is hard when you show up and you're still messing up, but I still got to show up. I still got to show up. I'm letting my professors know what's going on, and I've been doing music almost 30 years, so to make some of the mistakes that are happening, uh, those that have been working with me sometime know that this is unlike me, even though they still have to grade me accordingly. And so I'm seeking accommodations, and you just don't think that these are some of the things that you have to go through. And I'm sharing this because a cliche that I have not thought of or heard in so long came to mind while one of my health issues had me in the restroom. uh, I was, it came to mind, you see the glory, you see us celebrating the 50th episode, but you have no clue the story. You have no clue the things that are going on behind the scenes, how hard it is to keep holding on when it just seems like all things are falling apart, and all you can do is know, I cannot go by what I see. I have to walk by faith. And so, Dr. Gilbert, I'm gonna go to you just because I've used your post multiple times in what I've shared. You have accomplished so much from your teens to now. Multiple doctorate degrees, multiple. I would go as far as to say, as many books as I bought, dozens of books that you have been blessed to write. I'm thinking, what goes through this woman's mind? What has she experienced to write this much and to experience this much to impart to God's people? And it also lets me know that although we see the glory, and those who esteem you highly and see what you've been able to accomplish, they have no clue and wouldn't expect that you are having some of the low moments and have had some of the low moments that you've had. So I just ask you to speak to us in that regard, because I know it's not easy. And as you kind of share that, then lead us into how you are able to maintain in spite of.
Ooh, that's a lot. Um, a, a lot of people, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show again. It's always an honor to come. It's always great to see you and Shantae. Um, but to answer your question, when I was a little girl, I was, we weren't raised like Kojic and all that. We went to wherever had the best music, right? And so I knew that I had a prophetic call on my life, but I didn't know what that was, what it meant, and all of the things. And so what I did notice is that true prophetic people don't talk a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and so if you ever find a prophet that always got something to say, you have to wonder how much of that is them and how much of them is God, right? Um, and so to answer one of your questions, to get how did I get to write so many books? One of them is that I'm not a big people person, but I know that there are words that God has given me for various seasons in life. And some people would say in the universe. Because whether we realize it or not, even right now, life is lifing for everyone in a different way. Everybody is going through something, whether they share it or whether they don't. But you can look at the countenance of people. If you tap into the Holy Ghost, you can discern. You don't need to know everything that's going on, but you can just see life is life and written across their forehead, right? And so when I see that versus me, hey, you all right? You know, what's going on? I'll tap into God and be like, God, what's going on in this season? Body wise, kingdom wise.
Hmm.
And he'll give it to me. And then you'll get books like He Made a Garden Out of My Grave. You'll get books like I Messed Up. You get books like Me versus Me. So these are all conversations that I've had with God that deals with myself, because a lot of people, watch this, they're more willing and able to accept you talking about you. They can't take offense to you if I'm sitting here saying, man, I just can't stop eating these hamburgers. You know, they may have the same story, but because I didn't direct it to them, they're able to receive what I said. You understand? And so that's what it is. I'll always ask God, what do you want me to say in this season? Now watch this. There are also times where God will say, be quiet. Don't say anything in this season. The Bible says it best, there's a time and a season for everything. And a lot of people say, man, you do this, you act, you sing, you do this, you write books and all of that. Yes, I do, but it's not all at one time. I don't say, oh, there's 24 hours in a day, so I'm gonna do 2 hours of this and 2 hours of that and 2 hours of that. No, I have to tap into the season of which God has me to move in that moment. And I think that that is critical, because one of the things that we have to learn is that it's okay to just sit in God's presence and don't expect Him to say anything. Because in His presence is where I find the fullness of who He is. And if I'm into Him and He's into me in that moment of intimacy, then I'm able to transcribe whatever it is that He gave. And so um the other question that you ask is, how do I do it even in my low times? Um, that's a loaded question, because I had to learn over time. I had to learn in different seasons. See, there was a season in my life that if I got a hangnail, I canceled everything. I'm done. I don't want to, if I got a hunger pain, I'm done. I don't want to. But I had to grow in grace. I
Growth.
had to grow
Yes.
into a place where, okay, this is happening to me there. But how many other people is this happening to? And do I have something to contribute to them? Or watch this, do they have something to contribute to me to help me in that season? The Bible says we're supposed to be helpers one to another. That means that I don't always have the answers. Sometimes I may have to go to Chantae. Chantae may not have the answers. Sometimes I may have to go to Jay. Like, we have to learn how to be helpers one to another. And then in this latest season, as I approach 50 in a few months, um, I had to learn that it's okay to say no. I had to learn that it's okay to say, I'm not okay right now. I'm not okay, and it ain't none of your business why I'm not okay, but just know that I'm not okay, and respect I'm not okay. That doesn't mean to give me a 30-minute sermon on what you feel like the Lord is saying. That don't mean prophesy to me to the point where you just trying to see my facial expressions, and if I'm a shed a tear so you'll know that you in God or not. No, I just need you to give me a minute. And it's interesting that you should ask that question, because that's where I am right now. All month, domestic violence is something that's near and dear to my heart. And all month I've been doing a brunch every Saturday. It's the Survivor Circle brunch for men and women. And it has been amazing. It has been mind blowing. I mean, the nuggets that have been shared, the just the fellowship, the just and it's been a lot of leaders. I'm talking about like apostles and pastors and things of that nature, just coming together to just let your guard down and be like, dude, I'm not good. And let me tell you why I'm not good. Now I've shared that I'm not good. And let me tell you why I'm not good. Now, can you guys tell me, have you ever been there? And how did you come through it? Right? It's been very impactful. Then we did a stage play last week, 3 shows in one day, called It Affects Me Too, dealing with children and how they are, how it creates a generational curse, if you would, when they go through domestic violence in their home. So bring it to this Saturday. This Saturday is supposed to be the finale, the closeout, the paint and praise party, and all of the things. And then my aunt gets deathly ill. And I had to make a choice. Do I want to bury myself while I bless the body? Or do I want to sit back and allow the body to bless me? And I chose the latter. And this is the post that you were talking about when I said that you are connected to so many, but supported by so few. It's because when I said, okay, I'm not doing the brunch this Saturday, I'm not going anywhere this Saturday. Like I need me in this moment. I need me. And the responses that I got, some of them were like, oh, we're gonna be praying for you and all of that. But then there were others. Well, we've been having this plan for months and do 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 do. I understand that. However, life be life. And I would be remiss. There's this cliche that people always say, bleeding on the people.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sitting here and I'm hemorrhaging
Oh God.
emotionally,
Yeah.
spiritually,
Yeah.
because I'm mad at God, you understand?
Wow. Wow.
So you want me to get up and preach a word when I ain't even speaking to God in this manner? That's dangerous. You want me to get up and build up somebody else when I'm torn down? When really I want to knock the stairs from up under them and watch them fall? It comes a time in our lives where we have to stop and ask myself, am I doing this for God? Am I doing this for me? Or am I doing this for them?
Mm. Mm.
And at some point, at some time, the honorariums don't matter. The money doesn't matter. The prestige doesn't matter. The sales doesn't matter. The marketing, all of the business stuff, but business be businessing. But when life happens, sometimes you just got to stop and watch this. Be okay stopping. I was very distraught. I went to work Monday, and that's when they called me and told me that they were gonna pull the plug. And I just lost it, right? Because you have to understand, this is like my last living aunt on my mom's side. It was 6 girls. And my mom was one of the first of the 6 to die. So this lady became mama for all of us. And to lose her, given all the spiritual things, we know she's going to a better place, all the good, but let's talk human to human.
Right.
Losing her is losing a whole generation.
Yes. Yes.
It closes the door to where I can call and be like, Andy, is this true? Did this happen? There's nobody to ask anymore. Now we got to depend on DNA.com, Ancestry.com, and hope we find somebody that's normal. You know what I mean? And so because people just see it, oh, her aunt is sick, her aunt, no, it's much more than that. But I shouldn't have to get to the point where I have to explain that to you. Let my yay be my yay and my nay be my nay. And if I've never had a track record of canceling anything, if I've never had a track record of not showing up for a thing, and may the song says this, may the life I live speak for me. And if I've never done it before, I feel
Your
totally
reason.
okay
Yeah.
doing it right now
Yeah.
because I need me. I'm no good to nobody else. And there's nothing harder for a prophetic individual than to sit by and watch the man or woman of God bleed on the people because they didn't deal with the healing that they needed before they stood up and broke the bread of life.
You
Yeah.
know, and that is wisdom. That is spiritual maturity. And certainly praying for you and your family because uh that I can't say I understand to that magnitude, but when you lose certain people
Right.
that was who you were able to call. If this happened, this is who I can lean on. And now I still have the number in my phone, but if I just so happen to call, they're not going to answer.
Right.
And so know that I'm praying for you specifically, but for your family as well. And thank you for sharing because it does again just reinforce the fact that we can be so successful in so many ways, but still have to deal with life.
Yeah.
We still have to deal with life, and for a kingdom servant who has grown so much spiritually and had so much communication to experience something so dire and detrimental to them that they can't even talk to God, that's serious. That's serious because even with what I'm dealing with, the only way I'm able to deal with it is because I'm able to cry out to him. And so when I heard you say that, it just hit home that it could very well be at that place where you can't even cry out to him because instead of uh, trying to adhere to the sermon you just preached Sunday and think about what your trust looking like, Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
Uh, and where's your faith?
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold on to those things, but it very well could be, especially with the threatening school. So I'm so in prayer for you, and I that's just a new level of low, and for you to be willing to share that with us really does mean a lot because somebody's going to hear that. I know it spoke to me. Somebody's going to hear that, and it's possible that they feel the exact same way. I can't even talk to God about this. I'm so mad at him. And it's something when you are believing him for healing for someone, believing him for healing for yourself, and he says no or not yet, and you gotta wait. And it's when he says not yet, that's the same as no, because you still it's not happened at this moment. And so again, I'm confirmed as to why God led me to ask you to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I could extend the thought that you just said, it's one thing when God says no. It's another thing when God says not yet.
Oh yeah.
But what do you do when God is silent and he doesn't say a word? and you've cried and you cried and you cried and you prayed and you prayed and you prayed and you sat there. He said, be still and know that I am God. And I'm saying, I'm still and I'm still sitting. I'm still and I'm still waiting.
Still.
I'm still and I'm still hurting. I'm still and I'm still watching her come back to life, go away, come back, go back. It got to a point that I had to go, and my therapist has been on speed dial, right? And last night, um, I had a very transparent talk with my cousin, who is her daughter, and I said something that I never thought these words would come out of my face. And I told her, I said, this is triggering me, right? It's triggering me because if you come back, I can be good with that. If you leave, I can be good with that. But it's the coming back and the going and the coming and the going and the coming and the going. And it's like, okay, God, I see hope. Oh, God, now it's gone. Oh, God, I see hope. Oh, God, now it's gone.
Yeah. Like
It's
you're being
not,
toyed with.
yes.
Yeah.
And I said, it triggers me because when you have suffered things in life, domestic violence or abuse in any manner, or just believing God for a thing, and it's like toiling right there in your face, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So I had to step back and say, you know what, cousin, I love you. I love everybody. I love her. I love everybody. But I love myself enough to know that I have made peace with her, and everything is good. Like we're good, right? But I'm not going to be able to come back. And that was, can you imagine somebody telling you that? It's like either die or come to life, but you can't keep doing this, especially because God is not saying anything. And me being one of the preachers of the family, I'm looked to have answers. I don't have it. I don't have it. And I'm woman enough. I'm anointed enough. I'm prophetic enough to be able to be honest and say I don't have it. So I had to take care of me. I had to mature to a place to step back and say, hey, I need me right now. And I can't do this. And I won't do this. And I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with the people that have an issue that I didn't, that I'm not showing up for certain things. But until you're able to show up for yourself, you're of no avail to anyone else. I would rather be silent and not give you a word than give you a word from my hurt. Because, like they say, hurt people hurt people. You can't even deliver correctly when you're hurt. It's not possible. So sometimes we just got to have that shut mouth grace and just believe that God is going to speak in a way. And for me, today I was went to Houston. Like I said, we've been having productions everywhere all month. So I went, God told me to go get a U-Haul. So I go get a U-Haul. I go to the church in Houston. I get all my things from there. Go to the church in Livingston. I get all my things from there. And I was like, God, I don't even know I'm doing all this because I got time. It ain't like it's a push. But I heard him say, you're collecting the members of you. You're getting yourself together. You're bringing it all together again because this week I have fallen apart. So my trip in my U-Haul was, yes, it was physical that I was going to pick up these items and bring them back home. But it was also spiritual because I was able to go and pick up my items and bring them back home. And I say today has been a productive day.
Dang. What a blessing. What a blessing. What a blessing. You know, it's amazing how sometimes physical things can have you can receive a spiritual impartation. Chantae, I do have questions for you, but Dr. Gilbert and I have said a lot, and I'm sure your mind is churning, and there may be something or some things that were said that stood out to you that you want to speak on. And so before I ask you questions and go that route, do you have anything that you would like to say?
I guess about what Dr. Gilbert was saying. Sometimes I really don't like listening to her because she always like taps into something I don't really want to hear or don't want to deal with. But I know it's meant to hear. So, I know it was meant for us to be on a call together, but standing in front of God's people bleeding like that just, oh my God, that like I had to turn the fan on because I started to sweat. Like people don't understand like how it is to have to still do what you have to do, but nobody knows what you're really feeling.
Yeah.
You have to show up in spite of, because that's your obligation. You have to be there.
Yeah.
But on the inside, you're like, I just really can't do this today. But, God gives you strength. He gives us strength to endure in spite of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really felt that bleeding on God's people.
Yeah.
At when you said that, for me, it takes on a different meaning because what I do sustains the household. But when you said that, it made me think that maybe you need to take that word that she gave as well and choose you instead, especially knowing how you're feeling. And maybe, I know that you have in times done something different so that you could really be poured into without being in a space where you're even known, where you could pour out and be poured into. And so thank you for sharing. Is that all? Okay. I have just been so proud of you. One of the things that I noted early on after meeting you, the Eric in the studio noted my work ethic and the fact that I'd have the rest of my CDs done if it wasn't for money. I get in and do the work. I come prepared and I do the work. And I would notice that you'd be up early, out the door, on the move, and then you're going to this, you're going to that, you're participating in this. And I'm like, how is she doing all of this? And then you get in pretty late, and then it's the same thing the very next day. And I'm like, where is her rest? How is she, how is God giving her that kind of strength to keep going like that? And especially nowadays with you at this new school, I'm watching your faithfulness and how even your supervisor speaks of how you are an answered prayer. And even though you are experiencing those things, you have past parents who praise you. When those children, I've seen it, when those children see you, they are just so happy to see Miss Armstrong. Excuse me. It speaks volumes to you and the light that you have been able to show to the kids that you serve. You know, we say teach, but you are serving them because what you teach them, they take on and build on as they grow, just like we did. And so I know that, you know, you just did your walk, you've hosted a conference, and everything that you have hosted, even your new class and some other things at school have been challenging, but somehow you keep going anyhow. And I just want to know, have you to share with the listening audience, for you, what does it take for Chantae to get up every morning with a renewed determination to go after it?
You know, honestly, I think, well, I listen to music all day. Like, I'll leave my AirPods in my ear and I listen to it while I'm asleep and while I'm working. And yeah, I just kind of listen to the same songs over and over. And it really helps me. It's weird. My kids at work tell me, you know, turn it off. Jesus heard me. And I can't, because that's my strength. And I even when I listen to some of the songs, I listen to the lyrical content. It doesn't matter the artist or anything like that. The lyrical content, if it speaks to my spirit and it gets me going, that's what I'm gonna listen to. I think about when I was a child, how my grandfather used to drag me from quartet to quartet, and I didn't understand it, but he was putting it in me then, you know, the music, because that's what gets me going now, was the music. Music just keeps me going.
What a blessing. And even musically and singing wise, you know, I am personally so grateful that God allowed us to cross paths, and some of the things that you've said to encourage me as to why you connected, and even the fact that your grandfather approved of me, which I just wouldn't have imagined. That spoke volumes. But you are so faithful that when we think of true laborers of Christ, we're faithful, dedicated, committed workers who belong to Christ. And you are the epitome of that. And today you shared with me some things that we've been praying for, that you saw and are seeing God turn them around with your students, fellow you know, you're seeing a change. And I know that does something for you. And so when you saw, because I know it's not been easy, when you are teaching children and they're not retaining what you're teaching, and this new group of kids, they were used to being at home, closed in, isolated on these electronic devices. So now that they're having to interact and learn in a new way, it is a challenge for them. And it has been a challenge for you because you've been just used to children just grasping what you teach. And it's been even challenging you as a teacher on how to help them. And so when you testify that you are seeing some changes, that meant a lot, because I know for weeks it has been a challenge. And so just experiencing that, what would you say to others who are dealing with things and right now it looks like there is no hope in sight? Yeah.
Stay focused. One thing I know is that God is answering my prayers because I'm focused and I stay faithful for what he tells me to do. Even when I don't want to. I go, I do, And I feel like I'm reaping the benefits.
Okay, reaping the benefits.
Yeah, good. I wholeheartedly believe that, because when you do for others, others don't have to do for you. You know what I'm saying? God will make that count. And, I'm helping other people in their classes. I'm taking on new tasks at work, and I'm thinking, my class a hot mess. Like, how can I take on anything else? But slowly, like you said, it's just turning around, and I'm watching what I'm helping other people doing, their situations turn around. So
Good. And I'm seeing you still creating lesson plans, still again trying to come up with creative ways to help these children.
Mhm.
And I just want to salute you, Dr. Gilbert. I want to salute you because, and you know what? I am going to salute myself tonight.
right.
Okay.
Because each one of us each one of us is persevering. We're pursuing our dreams and goals. We're continuing to press forward with what we know to do in spite of. And it is so challenging. That statement, life is lifing in this season. It just is. And so to be able, in spite of, to do what you know to do. I think about the fact that you're dealing with what you said you're dealing with, Dr. Gilbert, and yet you still hosted the production and having to go pick up your stuff.
Mm.
That speaks volumes. And so, ladies, I salute us. And listening audience, those of you who are continuing to pursue in spite insurmountable odds and issues, I salute you too, because I know it's nobody but God giving us the strength to do that. He's the one that's kept us from birth. And if he kept us from birth, allowed people to feed us when we couldn't feed ourselves, change our dirty diapers, carry us when we could not walk, who are we to think that he will not continue to take care of us now? He's brought us this far. And so, it just gives you additional strength to keep going, even when you have to do sometimes what Dr. Gilbert said, take a break for you to regroup. And so I want to just kind of reiterate that word and reoffer it to somebody as the word of encouragement. If you need to take a break to do you and to refocus, because you know that you have been doing what God would have for you to do, you have been pursuing your dreams and goals, and you've been doing it again despite all that you're dealing with. Salute you. We salute you. But if you need a break, you just need a break. So, ladies, those were my final words. Because I started with you, Dr. Gilbert, I'm gonna pivot over to Chantae. Do you have any final words?
Don't give up. Just don't give up.
Okay.
This too shall pass.
You come this far, you might as well keep going and run on and see what it's gonna be.
Right.
Dr. Gilbert, any final words?
That right there. No matter how life starts lifing, just remember to step back and take a breath. Give yourself permission to feel, give yourself permission to deal, and give yourself permission to heal. That's all.
Good. Y'all, this has been an amazing 50th episode. I am so looking forward to this airing. at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Thank you all for joining us. Please like and share. I'm going to share this on my page because others need to hear this, whether they know it or not. And this has been a blessing. If nobody else needed this, I needed this. And ladies, I just thank you. I thank you for being my guest, that I didn't have to do 50 by myself. God bless you all. And again, thank you for joining us for the 50th episode of the J Bass Today Show.
It's the J Bass Today Show. Change your attitude, you can change your life. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I found out. Now I'm telling you.